Hi, quick hello. This is an original story from Tales Fair, and I have to say the audacity in this one is unreal. Alright, let's get into it.
My mother-in-law banned me and my 7-year-old from my husband's sister's wedding with 97 guests and over 20 children. "Her kid doesn't belong with us," she said casually. I didn't shout. I made one quiet move. When the wedding payment was due, they checked the account and started screaming. By the time I heard Linda say it, I was standing in my kitchen with pancake batter on my wrist and a glittery barrette in my palm. Lily had picked it out the night before, purple, sparkly, because Aunt Brittany likes purple. She'd laid it on the table like a crown, like a promise. She was 7, old enough to care, young enough to still believe adults mean well. I clipped it onto her hair and told myself we were fine. That's the thing about being fine. It's usually a costume. You wear it until someone rips it off in public. Jason came downstairs dressed like a man headed to tragedy, carrying a garment bag. A garment bag. For tragedy. Sure. We'd been married 7 years. 7 years of school drop-offs, dentist reminders, PTA emails, and me translating Jason's family's jokes into what they actually were. Little tests, little pokes, tiny calculated cuts. Linda never screamed. She never had to. Linda was the kind of woman who could ruin your day with a compliment. "Oh, Sarah," she'd say, smiling like she'd just discovered a new species. "I love how you try." We lived in a quiet suburb outside Chicago, the kind with Target 5 minutes away and an HOA that believed grass length was a moral issue. From the street, our life looked normal. A husband, a kid, a house with seasonal wreaths and Amazon packages on the porch. But inside the house, Jason's family still acted like I was a temporary employee. Useful, replaceable. Not quite one of them. Jason poured coffee into his travel mug and didn't meet my eyes. "I have to go," he said. "My mom's in the hospital." I blinked. "What? Linda? What happened?" He shifted his weight like the floor was unstable. "I don't know. Brittany called. It's bad." My hands went automatically to my phone. "Okay, then we'll go. I'll call the school, grab Lily." "No!" Too fast. Too sharp. "No, Sarah. Lily has school, and hospitals are germs, and you'll just in the way," I finished quietly. Jason finally looked at me, irritation already loaded like he'd been waiting all morning for me to ask the wrong question. "Sarah, please, let me handle it." Handle it. Like he handled everything, by keeping me out of the room until it was too late to object. Lily padded into the kitchen in unicorn pajamas, hair sticking up, eyes half open. "Dad?" she asked, sleepy. "Is Grandma Linda okay?" Jason's face rearranged itself in half a second. Dad mode. Warm smile. Soft voice. "She's sick, Bug, but she'll be fine." He kissed Lily's forehead, grabbed his keys, and walked out. Garment bag swinging. The house went quiet in that specific way it does after someone drops a lie on the floor and expects you to build a rug over it. Lily climbed into her chair and swung her legs. "Can we still go to Aunt Brittany's wedding?" I froze. "Wedding?" I repeated, like the word had come from a different language. Lily nodded like it was obvious. "Daddy said it's this weekend." Jason hadn't mentioned a wedding, not once. Not even a casual, "Hey, my sister's getting married, don't freak out." "Who told you that?" I asked, too evenly. Lily shrugged. "He said it on the phone last night. He said, 'Mom, stop. I'm trying to keep Sarah calm.'" Oh, so there was a script. I just wasn't given my lines. I forced my face into something gentle because Lily's eyes were on me, wide and trusting. Go get dressed, I said, and don't forget your backpack. She hopped off, humming, and I stood there with pancake batter drying on my skin and a feeling settling in my chest like wet cement. Because when you've been married long enough, you learn the difference between forgot and hid. Jason didn't forget his sister's wedding. He hid it, which meant someone told him to. And Jason, loyal to his mother like it was a religion, obeyed. I drove Lily to school like it was normal, smiled at her teacher, kissed her cheek, watched her run inside with purple sparkle in her hair. Then I sat in the parking lot and stared straight ahead, trying to manufacture an innocent explanation. Maybe Brittany's wedding was small. Maybe Linda really was sick and they'd postponed it. Maybe I was overreacting. That's the other thing toxic families do. They don't just exclude you. They train you to doubt your own senses. My phone buzzed. Jason. At hospital, it's a mess. Don't worry, Lily. I'll update you later. Hospital. Sure. I drove home and did what I always did when Jason's family made me feel crazy. I looked for receipts. They were in a folder in the pantry, tucked behind Costco paper towels, because apparently our marriage ran on bulk supplies and hidden documents. Inside were spreadsheets. Jason loved a spreadsheet when it didn't involve accountability, and printed emails, and on top, a glossy contract with gold lettering. Oak and Iron Catering. Fairview Country Club. Event date, Saturday. Guest count, 97. Children, 24. 97 guests. 24 children, and somehow my 7-year-old didn't belong. I flipped to the payment schedule. Deposit paid. Second installment paid. Final payment due. Friday, 10 a.m. Tomorrow. Then I saw it. Billing contact, Sarah. Email. Mine. Linked account. Our joint checking. My name. Not Jason's. Not Brittany's. Mine. Because 2 years ago, Linda had smiled across my dining table, right after telling me I did such a nice job folding napkins for Thanksgiving, and said, "You're so organized, Sarah. It's easier if the family stuff goes through you." And I, because I wanted peace, because I wanted belonging, because I still believed effort gets rewarded, had said, "Sure." I'd heard trust. It had actually been convenience. I stood there in my pantry, holding a catering contract like it was a legal notice, and suddenly a bunch of old memories slid into place like a cruel little puzzle. Linda forgetting to add my name to family group texts. Linda insisting Lily wear a cardigan for photos because bright colors draw attention. Linda calling Lily sweetie, but never using her name, like names meant attachment. Linda's favorite phrase, spoken softly over dessert, "We're just different kinds of people." And Jason, every time, pretending not to notice. "We don't have to make everything a thing," he'd say. Funny how everything was always me. I called Jason. Voicemail. I called Linda. Voicemail. I called Brittany. It rang once, then stopped. Rejected. Not ignored. Rejected. Like a door slam with intent. So I opened social media. Brittany's profile was public because Brittany believed in privacy the way she believed in consequences. Vaguely, and mostly for other people. Her stories were a highlight reel. Bridesmaids in matching robes, champagne flutes lined up on a hotel counter, a flat lay of invitations I had never seen. Hashtags. Filters. The world's most expensive happiness. And then I found a video from the rehearsal dinner. I tapped. String lights, white linens, laughter that sounded expensive. And there, in the center of the frame, was Linda, my critically ill mother-in-law, standing, smiling, holding a wine glass, very much not dying. The camera zoomed in on her like she was the main character, and Linda leaned towards someone off screen and said, perfectly clear, "Of course Sarah isn't coming." Someone laughed. "Why not?" Linda waved her hand like she was brushing lint off her sleeve. "She just doesn't fit," she said. "And her kid, please, her kid doesn't belong with us." I told Jason Sarah and Lily are not to show up, period. Casually, like she was commenting on the weather, like my daughter was a stain. The camera kept rolling. Linda kept talking about keeping it tasteful, about not letting certain energy in, about how Brittany deserves better than awkwardness. And in the background, I heard Jason laugh. Not loud, not proud, just present, complicit. I watched it twice because denial is a stubborn animal. Then my screen went dark and I sat there in my silent house, hearing the hum of the refrigerator and my own breathing, and I realized something that made my stomach go hollow. This wasn't about a wedding. This was about Lily, because if Linda had only hated me, she would have tolerated my presence. Linda loved having someone to look down on. It gave her something to do between brunch and judging people's landscaping. But Lily? Lily was proof. Proof that I wasn't temporary. Proof that I had roots. Proof that I was, technically, family. And Linda couldn't stand that. I could have screamed. I could have called Jason and unloaded 7 years of swallowed hurt into his voicemail like a manifesto. I could have driven to Fairview Country Club and walked into the rehearsal dinner like a hurricane. And they would have loved that, because then the story becomes, Sarah is unstable, not Linda is cruel. So I didn't shout. I made one quiet move. I opened my laptop and logged into our bank. The joint account was where everything lived. Mortgage autopay, utilities, groceries, Jason's truck payment, Lily's after-school program, and apparently Linda's fantasy wedding. I stared at the balance. It wasn't just money. It was proof. Proof that I'd been carrying more than my share while being treated like I should be grateful for the privilege. Jason's paycheck paid the basics. My freelance work, little contracts I did after Lily fell asleep, built the cushion. I was the one who remembered due dates. I was the one who called the insurance company when something didn't process. I was the one who made the spreadsheet Jason loved so much. And my name was on that account, which meant legally, I wasn't stealing. I was securing. If you've never been pushed far enough, you might think the moment you snap is loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's clicking transfer. I opened the separate account I'd kept from before we got married, the one my mom insisted I keep just in case. Back when I thought just in case meant car repairs. I initiated the transfer, clean, simple, and I left behind exactly $127.43 because I wanted the balance to say something. Not oops, not error. A message. A receipt. I confirmed the transfer. The loading circle spun, and then it was done. No fireworks, just reality shifting. I closed the laptop. Then I packed. Not dramatically, not for revenge, for oxygen, for Lily. Because if Linda wanted to talk about belonging, I was going to show my daughter exactly where she belonged. With me. I didn't have a perfect plan. I had a deadline, school pickup, and a nervous system that had just been hit by a truck. So I did what every stressed-out American mom does when life breaks. I opened my phone and booked a trip. Florida popped up first because the algorithm knows when you're unstable. There was a flight that evening, 2 seats left, a hotel with a pool, a refundable rate. I clicked. I paid. I put the flight and hotel on my credit card, the one in my name. I didn't tell anyone, because I already knew how that would go. Jason would say I was overreacting. Linda would say I was selfish. Brittany would cry. And Lily would watch adults punish her for existing. No. I picked Lily up from school like it was any normal weekday afternoon. She ran to the car, backpack bouncing, barrette still shining. "Mom, guess what?" "Hey, baby," I said, voice too bright. "How would you feel about an adventure?" Her eyes widened. "Like a surprise?" "Like you and me," I said. "Just us." She hesitated. "Is Daddy coming?" "No," I said gently. Lily looked down at her hands. "Did we get uninvited?" That question, coming from a 7-year-old, made my throat tighten, because it meant she already understood social rejection, already knew how it feels. "We weren't invited," I said. Her face went still, like her brain refused the data. "But Aunt Brittany likes me," she whispered. I thought of Linda's voice, casual and cruel, and felt my teeth press together. I reached over and took Lily's hand. "Some people say things that aren't true," I said, choosing each word carefully. "And sometimes they do things that aren't kind. But that's about them, not you." Her eyes filled. Did I do something wrong? That question cracked something open in me. Not anger. A vow. "No," I said, firm. "You did nothing wrong. You are not the problem. You don't ever have to earn a place." Lily sniffed. "So where are we going?" I smiled, the first real smile I'd had all day. "Somewhere with a big pool and ice cream. Somewhere nobody gets to tell you you don't belong." She blinked. "Is it Disney?" Of course it was. "It might be," I said. That evening, we walked through the airport with one suitcase and Lily's backpack. She held my hand like if she let go, the world might change its mind. I bought her a pretzel bigger than her face. I let her pick a ridiculous keychain. I watched her curiosity start to push the sadness aside, just a little. Before we boarded, I sent Jason one message. "Lily and I are safe. We're taking a trip. Do not contact me through your mother. I'll be in touch when I'm ready." Then I emailed the same thing, because in America, timestamps matter when people like Linda decide to rewrite reality. I put my phone on airplane mode and watched Lily press her forehead to the window as the plane lifted off. Quiet. Not the quiet of defeat. The quiet of leaving a room where you've been insulted and realizing you don't have to stay. Friday morning, we woke up in a hotel room that smelled faintly of chlorine and waffle maker syrup. Lily bounced on the bed like gravity was optional. "Pool first?" she asked. "Pool first," I agreed. We swam. We ate pancakes. Lily giggled so hard she snorted, then laughed even harder because she'd snorted. For a few hours, she was just a kid, not someone's embarrassment, not a problem to hide. Just a kid with wet hair and bright eyes and a mother who was finally choosing her. And then my phone came back to life. Missed calls, voicemails, texts that looked like they'd been typed with shaking hands. Jason's voicemail hit first, sharp, panicked. "Sarah, what the hell did you do? Brittany is freaking out. The account. Sarah, call me right now." Brittany's voicemail was pure meltdown, the kind where the world ends because a spotlight is dimmer than expected. "This is my wedding," she sobbed. "The caterer won't start service without payment. Fix it. You're ruining everything." Linda's voicemail arrived like a performance. She tried to sound sweet, like she hadn't just publicly disowned my child. "Sarah, sweetheart," she said, syrupy, "there's been a misunderstanding. Transfer the money back. This is not the time for your tantrum. Be reasonable." Tantrum? Right. Because when Linda humiliates a child, it's taste. When a mother protects her kid, it's a tantrum. I stared at the voicemails and felt something almost like laughter rise in my chest. Not joy, relief. Because for the first time, their panic proved I wasn't crazy. The payment was due, and suddenly, my presence mattered. Funny how that works. I texted Jason one sentence. I saw the video. Don't lie to me again. Then I put my phone away and took Lily to get ice cream. On the walk back, Lily skipped and held her cup with both hands like it was sacred. "Mom?" she asked quietly. "Yeah, baby?" "Are we in trouble?" My throat tightened. "Why would we be in trouble?" She looked down. Daddy sounded mad on the phone. And Grandma doesn't like me. That last part was said softly, like a confession, like she'd been carrying it already. I stopped walking and crouched in front of her. "Listen to me," I said, steady. "You and I are not in trouble. You are not a problem. You are not too much. You are not anything Grandma says when she's being mean." Lily's eyes filled. "But why doesn't she like me?" "Because you're connected to me," I wanted to say. "Because you're proof Linda can't erase." But I didn't hand my 7-year-old the full horror of adult psychology. I gave her the truth she could hold. "Sometimes," I said, "people have something broken in them, and instead of fixing it, they take it out on other people. That doesn't mean you're not lovable. It means Grandma isn't safe with her words." Lily sniffed, then nodded like she was filing it away. "Okay," she whispered. Then, after a pause, "Can we get sprinkles tomorrow too?" I laughed, because kids are resilient in the most humbling way. "Sprinkles tomorrow," I promised. That afternoon, while Lily napped, I did the unglamorous part of leaving. Not the cinematic part, the paperwork part. I opened a notes app and started listing what I needed if this turned into a legal mess. Birth certificate, social security card, school records, health insurance numbers, passwords. I changed the passwords first, not out of spite, out of safety. Because when a man panics, he doesn't always become violent. Sometimes he becomes reckless. Sometimes he starts fixing things. And I didn't trust Jason's definition of fixing anymore. I froze my credit. I moved my direct deposit. I documented every message. Then I booked a consult with a family law attorney back home. Her name was Michelle. Her tone suggested she'd heard, "My spouse's mother is a problem," so many times it had its own category. She listened while I told her the facts. Joint account, my name on the billing, the video, the trip, the texts. When I finished, she said calmly, "You're not kidnapping your child by taking a trip. But keep communication in writing, keep your location known, and don't refuse reasonable contact with your husband unless he becomes abusive." Then, "And the money, moving funds from a joint account you're on isn't illegal. But in divorce, the court cares about fairness. Don't spend it. Just secure it. We'll document why you did it." Fairness. Documentation. America loves paperwork almost as much as Linda loves control. Michelle also said something that stuck with me. "Your daughter's emotional safety matters," she said. "Courts don't like grandparents who alienate a child. Keep records. Don't exaggerate. Just document." So I did. Back at the wedding on Saturday, because yes, they still had the wedding, Jason's texts started arriving in bursts, like updates from a disaster zone. They're holding dinner. The planner says they'll shut down the bar. People are asking questions. Mom is screaming at everyone. "Please, transfer it back. We'll talk after." After. After Brittany got her photos. After Linda got her perfect day. After the guests ate and stopped whispering. Then we could talk. I looked over at Lily, curled on the couch with a towel around her shoulders, watching cartoons with damp hair and a pool bracelet on her wrist. And something settled in me like a final decision. I wasn't negotiating my child's dignity. I didn't answer. Saturday afternoon, I got one more message from Jason. Shorter. Different. The venue told Brittany they can't serve until the balance clears. They're literally standing there. Everyone's watching. I pictured it with vivid clarity. The Fairview Country Club, all polished floors and soft lighting and staff trained to smile through chaos. Brittany in her dress, hair perfect, mascara running anyway. Linda in pearls, hissing at the coordinator like the coordinator personally stole her youth. 97 guests shifting in their seats, 24 kids asking for chicken tenders, and a wedding planner whispering, "We need the payment before service." Because in America, you can't family your way out of a contract. A contract is a contract, and my name was on it, which meant Linda had been happy to use my name when it made her life easier, just not happy to let my child sit at a table. My phone rang. Jason. I let it go to voicemail. Then I listened. His voice was ragged now. "Sarah," he said, quieter than before. "Please. Just, please. We'll figure everything out later. My mom is... Brittany is... This is humiliating." Humiliating. That word. Not wrong. Not cruel. Humiliating. Like the real tragedy was that people were watching. I deleted the voicemail, not because I didn't need it, because I didn't want Lily hearing his voice like that if my phone accidentally played it. Some things don't get to enter her world. That night, Lily and I sat on the balcony eating fries out of a paper basket. Palm trees swayed. Warm air wrapped around us like a blanket. Lily dipped a fry in ketchup and asked casually, "Are we going home to Daddy?" I took a breath. "I don't know yet," I said honestly. She nodded like she accepted that. Then her face tightened, and she asked the question that made my heart ache. "Did Daddy not want me there?" I could have lied. I could have said, "Daddy loves you, honey, it's complicated." But kids can smell lies like smoke. So I told her the truth she deserved. "Daddy made a bad choice," I said. "And I'm going to make sure you're safe while he figures out how to make better ones." Lily leaned against me and whispered, "I like you better." I laughed, watery and real. "Same," I said. On Monday, Jason finally called in a different tone. Smaller, exhausted, like someone who'd spent a weekend cleaning up a mess he helped make. I answered because I was ready, not because he deserved it. "Where are you?" he asked. "On a trip," I said. "With Lily. You can't just take her." "I can," I replied calmly. "She's my child too, and I told you she's safe. I put it in writing." Silence. Then, carefully, "Brittany's wedding was a disaster." I made a soft sound. "Oh?" "They had to borrow money," he admitted. "My dad did a cash advance. Mom called everyone. The caterer delayed dinner. The bar shut down for an hour. People were talking. It was bad." "And?" I asked. Jason's voice cracked. "Why did you do it? Why would you do this to us?" "To us. Not to Lily. Not to me. To the wedding." I felt my jaw tighten. "Jason," I said quietly, "your mother said her kid doesn't belong with us on video. You lied to me about a hospital, and I heard you laughing in the background." Silence. "On the internet. You lied to me about a hospital." "She didn't mean it about Lily," he tried, weak. I let out a short, humorless laugh. "She said it like she was choosing napkins." "I didn't know what to do," he whispered. "You did," I said. "You just didn't want to do it. Standing up to your mother was harder than lying to your wife." His breath shook. "I'm sorry." The apology didn't warm me. It wasn't for Lily. It wasn't even really for me. It was for the consequences he didn't like. "What happens now?" he asked. I watched Lily in the shallow end of the pool, laughing with another kid, her shoulders relaxed in a way I hadn't seen in months. "What happens now," I said, "is we talk to a lawyer. We make a custody plan. We set boundaries. Because I'm done living around your mother. You're divorcing me, he whispered. I don't know yet, I said honestly. But you don't get to keep us and also treat us like we're optional. He made a sound like he wanted to argue. Then he didn't. Because somewhere deep down, he knew I was right. When Lily and I came home a week later, the house felt the same. Same walls, same couch. But the air felt exposed, like something had been opened and couldn't be closed again. Jason was waiting. Flowers sat on the table like an apology you can buy at a grocery store. I didn't touch them. Flowers don't fix betrayal. Lily walked in, stared at Jason for a moment, and asked the question adults avoid. Why didn't I get to go to the wedding? Jason flinched and glanced at me like he wanted rescue. I didn't move. He knelt. It was wrong, he said, voice rough. Grandma said something mean, and I should have stopped it. Lily's lip trembled. Did you hear her? Jason nodded. I did. Why didn't you stop her? Lily whispered. Jason stared at the floor like answers lived in the carpet. Then he admitted the ugliest truth. Because I was scared. Lily blinked. Scared of Grandma? Jason nodded, shame all over his face. Lily's expression tightened in that heartbreaking way kids do when they realize adults can be weak. Well, she said, small but firm. I'm not scared of her. She's just rude. Out of the mouths of 7-year-olds comes clarity adults spend decades running from. Jason's shoulders sagged, and for the first time in 7 years, he looked less like Linda's son and more like a man seeing the damage his loyalty caused. The next weeks weren't dramatic. They were practical. Michelle drafted paperwork. We created a temporary schedule. Jason moved into the guest room. We started communicating more in writing than in person because writing doesn't let people rewrite your tone later. Jason started therapy because apparently that's what it takes for some men to understand that boundaries are not a personal attack. Lily stayed with me most nights. Jason had set times with her. He picked her up from school. He showed up. He tried. I noticed. I didn't reward him with forgiveness for effort, but I noticed. And Linda? Linda tried to regain control the only way she knew how, by escalating. First, she sent texts. Sarah, you need to stop. This is not how we handle family matters. You will be held accountable. Held accountable. By who? The wedding police? Then she sent long emails about family unity and respect. Then she tried calling Lily through Jason as if a 7-year-old exists to soothe the grandmother's ego. Jason finally told her no, and that's when she showed up. A Tuesday afternoon, unannounced, pearls on, anger polished to a shine. She didn't ask about Lily. Of course she didn't. She stepped out of her SUV like she owned the street and pointed at me in my own driveway. You are destroying this family, she said. I looked her over. Hi, Linda. Nice of you to finally acknowledge I exist. Don't be smart, she snapped. I'm not being smart, I said. I'm being accurate. You stole money. I transferred money from an account my name is on, I corrected. And my attorney is documenting everything. That word, attorney, made her eyes flash. Jason stepped outside behind me, drawn by the noise. Linda's face softened instantly. Sweet mom voice. Performance smile. Oh, honey, she cooed. Look what she's doing to you. Jason didn't hug her. He didn't smile. He just stood there. And something in Linda's face flickered. Confusion. Because in Linda's world, Jason was supposed to come running. Mom, Jason said quietly. You need to leave. Linda blinked. Excuse me? You need to leave, he repeated. You said awful things about Lily. You lied. You made me lie. And you humiliated Sarah. Linda's mouth tightened. I humiliated no one. She humiliated herself. Jason's jaw clenched. That's not true, he said. And if you can't respect my wife and my daughter, you don't get access to us. Linda stared at him like he'd committed a crime. Then she snapped her gaze to me. This is you, she hissed. You've poisoned him. I shrugged. If the truth is poison, Linda, maybe your system was already failing. Her eyes flicked toward the window, toward Lily's room, and I stepped forward before she could even think about pulling my child into her war. My voice went calm as glass. If you ever say one unkind thing to my child again, I told her, you will not enjoy what happens next. Linda's nostrils flared. For a second, I thought she might slap me. Then she spun around and stormed back to her SUV, tires squealing as she backed out like she was fleeing consequences. Jason exhaled. I didn't congratulate him. One decent moment doesn't erase 7 years of cowardice, but it proved something important. He could have done this earlier. He just didn't. Life after that was paperwork and boundaries, a temporary custody schedule, therapy for Jason, rules that didn't bend for Linda's just stopping by. Linda tried to tell the family I was unstable, vindictive, jealous, whatever word made her feel powerful. But Lily was never a good audience for propaganda. My grandma said I don't belong, she told me one night, quiet and matter-of-fact, like she was reporting the weather. I pulled her close. She was wrong, I said. And you never have to shrink to fit someone else's cruelty. Jason heard her say it once, and I watched his face change. Like he finally understood this wasn't about me winning an argument. It was about Lily building her identity, and whether she'd build it around shame or around truth. A few months later, Lily and I sat in our new apartment. Nothing fancy, just sunlight and quiet and a pool she loved. It wasn't a glamorous escape. It was a reset. A place where no one could show up unannounced without consequences. Lily colored at the table, tongue sticking out in concentration. Mom, she asked without looking up, do I belong with you? I set everything down. I leaned in. You belong with me, I said. And you belong with people who love you right. She nodded, satisfied, like her heart had been waiting for that sentence. Then she grinned. If you have a wedding someday, can I invite whoever I want? I laughed, soft and real. Yes, you can. Then I'm inviting you, she declared, because you're my favorite. I hugged her so tight she squeaked. Linda said Lily didn't belong with them. She was right, just not the way she meant it. Lily didn't belong in rooms where love is conditional and children are treated like inconveniences. She didn't belong anywhere she had to earn basic kindness. She belonged with me, and I finally belonged to myself. As for Brittany, she got her photos. She also got a wedding people still whisper about. The one where payments didn't clear, dinner stalled, the bar shut down, and the screaming started. And Jason learned the hard way what happens when you choose your mother over your family. I didn't ruin a wedding. I ruined an illusion, and illusions were always going to break. I just happened to be holding the bank app when it did. Thanks for watching till the end. If this story hit close to home, give it a like and subscribe for more. And I'm curious, who do you think was really wrong here? Tell me in the comments. See you next time.